everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division for the Community Cup. We're playing every hole here from the second tee. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also visit golfclashtommy.com for more Golf Clash related content. You can become a subscriber to patreon.com/golfclashtommy if you want to get the text guide for the Community Cup or for maybe any other tour in the whole game. Yes, we're going to play everything from the second tee, and we're going to see a lot of opportunities on basically every hole in this tournament. So I would expect many players to go very low when it comes to the scores, and I would like you to take your guess in the comment below what you think is going to be the score to win, either in Pro or in Expert, depending on what division you're going to play. I think that if you do not get to minus 31, 32, you will stand no chance making a gold in this tournament. It's going to be interesting to show you the approaches that I do have. Some of the recordings are old, as some of them cannot be found from the second tee in the tour game, especially the Namhae cliffs. So have in mind that the focus there should not be if it's dark or it's bright. Its focus should be on the way that we are playing. So in the end, I hope you're going to enjoy. So let's go to hole number 1. So let's go with the video, and we're going to start first by playing with the Viper from second tee. Yes, I'm going to show you with, not that high level club, so a Viper with a little bit of side spin to the right here, and we're going to aim for the funnel. Obviously with a Viper here, it's going to be very tough to get to find the funnel here. And the reason it's going to be tough is because we don't have the ball guideline to rely to, as we do have with the Sniper. If you do have the Sniper in at least level 6 plus, I would suggest to play with the Sniper. Otherwise, you're going to notice that playing with a maximum distance with a 30% over adjustment will still be fine. With a Viper as well, we bounce into the rough and we catch the funnel, and it rolls very, very nicely into the hole. This funnel here is going to make this hole become almost a must hole in one in the tournament, because the funnel is very forgiving, and you're going to see players here shooting a great left, great right, and perfect, and get it into the hole. Now with a Sniper, we do have the ball guideline. Now we do have a little bit of tailwind and a little bit of crosswind to the right. So in that case, we aim for the left side of the cup there. And a good thing to do when you're trying to catch the funnel is to wiggle a little bit back and forth with your ball guideline, or like with your target. So you see that the ball guideline is going to be stuck towards the hole. Once again, maximum distance with a 30% over adjustment, and we get that one in for a hole in one as well. Once again, this funnel is magic. It's magic, and you're going to see yourself, if you follow the steps suggested here on the channel, you're going to see yourself making a lot of hole in ones. And I wanted to play with the Viper as well to show you that it's not needed to play with a high level Sniper all the time. Also, I suggest a Kingmaker here. You can play with a Katana, but in headwind, a Kingmaker will have that distance that the Katana will not have. Side spin 3 is generally, in my opinion, a must to compensate for if we do have a wind coming right to left. So Kingmaker, overall best ball, have that in mind. So let's take a look at hole number 2, and we're going to play with the big topper. You do not have to play with a Kingmaker here. The reason I play with a Kingmaker is because that's the ball that I have the most of, weirdly enough. So play with basically whatever ball you want to use. Obviously, in the end, if you do have a straight headwind, I would suggest a power 3 ball, maybe a Titan, or to a stretch, a Kingmaker. So a Quasar with a crosswind would be absolutely perfect. Max top spin and a couple of bars of side spin to the left, or let's say like this, use as much left spin together with the top spin possible. The most important part is to get the top spin. Adjust from medium distance with no elevation whatsoever, and we're going to look for the ball to bounce on the fairway through the trees there, bounce into the rough, and roll out on the fairway for a very simple eagle. This is going to be an absolute must eagle, as it's played more or less like a par 3 than it is a par 4. There is also a way for those of you that feel that, okay, I struggled big time to hit perfect with my big topper, because the only problem with a big topper would be to hit a bad great left or a bad great right, because the accuracy is so low then the ball is gonna fly more left or more right than what it would be doing for, let's say, for an example, a quarterback or with a sniper. So the thing that you can do there is that you can curl around the tree on the right hand side, which I personally think it's harder as you need to use curl, but it would be an alternative way for you to play. And obviously I will dig into that depending on what type of wind we're going to have in the tournament. So let's take a look at hole number 3, and here we're going to play with the driver that gives us the most distance and topspin. In my world here, it's going to be the extra mile level 8. It could be a Thor's hammer for you, it could be an Apocalypse for you, it could also be a big topper in a high level. That's completely up to what you have in your bag. I play with a power 3 ball to give myself the distance here from the start, but you can play with all from power 0, power 1, power 2, power 3 ball. That's you know, as you can see, we have a bunch of suggestions on the right hand side there. The important part though, don't use any elevation. We're playing this one without elevation to try to then to get as far as possible. If tailwind with the drive, you can cross the rough directly, and then you will be in a much better position for the second shot, in my opinion, because then you're gonna be in long iron range. Now we are in wood club range if we're gonna play that drive as we did now in this example. Either we play with the sniper if you have it in at least level 9, or that you're going to play with the guardian. The guardian, then you can attack the pin better than you do with the sniper and use and actually aim for a backspin shot just by the pin instead of having to use the shot here on the back end of the green. I remember just a few tournaments ago we did play with the guardian and had a very good success with that backspin shot, and that is definitely something that we will look into depending on the wind. The beautiful part with the sniper though is its ball guideline, and that's the negative part with the guardian. But in the end we are using a backspin shot either back end of the green, or we are using, as explained, the guardian shot just by the pin. 10% over adjustment for the second shot. So here we're going to play for the rough bump with basically whatever type of wind, and we're going to play with the quarterback as our main option. 2.5 bar backspin and as much side spin to the left possible. Very important to play with a side spin 3 ball. Red ring slightly outside the rough, and then the ball guideline to the hole. And then we're going to play medium distance with a 10% over adjustment from this area. And in the end, have in mind that we are not going to be playing with snow. This is an older recording, but it works as equally well. Perfect ball, and the ball's coming in here, and we're going to clip the rough, and we are going to roll this one in for a nice hole-in-one. I personally believe this is going to be the best way to approach this hole. Obviously, there might be some different type of tweaks be needed to be done depending on the wind. As you know, having a tailwind is going to obviously need less backspin than what a tailwind should be needing more backspin than what, if so, a headwind would be needed. So in the end, thank you so much for watching hole number 4, par 3 from the second tee, and let's bring home that hole-in-one. So let's take a look at hole number 5, and with this type of wind we are going to be pushed to be playing on the right hand side. If we do have a tailwind, and even if it's with a tailwind and a crosswind or just a pure tailwind, we are going to try to bounce over the rough there in the center, trying to gain as much distance as possible so we do have a short iron or a long iron towards the pin. But whenever we do get headwind here, we do need to play on the right hand side, so we are then going to have a wood club for the pin. And this is going to be first and foremost not a hard drive, so it's a maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment, 4.5 to 6 bars of topspin and max side spin to the right. But the second shot, however, is going to be super tough. And the reason that's going to be super tough, it's because first and foremost the rough bump is very inconsistent, and it's very easy to miss left as the ball guideline does fool you a bit. So we do want to, if we're gonna do the rough bump, we do want to aim way further up, because it's going to basically die once hitting the rough and then going to fall down. So this one is going to miss way left. Another alternative approach could be to use the Guardian here, using a max backspin shot, so you in that case can get a little roll back, but also get some help when it comes to the headwind here, that the headwind will push the ball back, and that could be a way of getting that one in the hole. And that was a particular shot that we have been playing from 30, but in the end might be able to do so, or might be needed to do so when playing from the second tee. So just to summarize, if you do get any form of tailwind, we'll go full blast and we'll go with an aggressive drive. That will leave us with a long iron or short iron. Backspin is super duper important. So Thorn, Saturn is 2 clubs to have then if so. If we do have a headwind, pretty boring hole. We play over to the right, and then we have a minimal chance for an eagle from distance. Then it's a sniper or a Guardian towards the pin. Power 3 ball would be my suggestion. Katana would work, absolutely, but a power 3 ball would be what I would be sticking to. So let's take a look at what we should do from the second tee. Here we play with a driver that gives us the most distance. In our case, extra mile level 6. And you can see that I'm playing with a power 3 ball. You don't have to play with a power 3 ball. I will have to say that the wind is going to decide what type of ball we're going to play. Headwind, power 3 ball. Crosswind, we could be fine with a power 2 ball like a Katana. If we do have a straight tailwind, we could be good and playing with a power 1 ball like a Quasar. Maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment is what we're gonna do. And you can hit great left, great right and still be fine. It is though very important that you do take yourself far away from the left or the right hand side, because if you do get into the rough or into the sand, you will not be able to reach for the green in 2. We are only going to lay up, and we're going to do the same type of shot that our opponent is doing. And the second shot is going to be massively uphill. We're going to play with a minus 20% in terms of under adjustment. And every time we make an under adjustment, it is, I would call an under adjustment pretty rare in the game. It's not many shots that we are doing that, but it is almost more important to adjust properly when it's an under adjustment, because if we do over adjust, or let's say we would be playing this one without any under adjustment, then we would risk getting stuck into the rough or even miss the rough if we do have a headwind, for an example, where we adjust out onto the fairway. This is, with a sniper in at least level 5, level 6, we do have a decent opportunity here making an albatross from distance. The thing that we do need to have in mind is, once again, how the ball is going to act once it hits the ground, depending on the different type of wind. So we are with sniper in very close to minimum distance here. And one thing that I like to do normally is to actually use max right spin, so I aim further down to the left. But in this scenario, I'm not using that, and it's totally fine. You don't have to, but on recent days, I've been starting to use more and more right spin here for this approach and feel that I'm getting a better result. We adjust minimum distance with a 20% over adjustment, and then we're going to take our shot. Great left is obviously not going to help most of the cases, and you can see here we're coming in and we just missed to the left there. So with a perfect ball, would have been close. And in the end, playing from second tee here with a win like we had here is going to make us having a very good chance making an albatross from distance all the time. And I do feel that we should be able to work with yardage notes based on a perfect drive. So, hole number 7, we are not going to be playing when it's dark. We're gonna play when it's bright and it's sun outside. This is an older recording. We're going to play with a long iron. Very important here, in my opinion, to play with the B52 or with the Goliath, as both of them do have a very nice distance. I'm using max left spin, which is 4.5 bars, and we're using 2 to 3 bars of backspin here. You can see there, we're very close to the max distance line, so playing with a Saturn or a backbone or something like that will not be good, or like a Grizzly for that matter. Then you will go in between club. Unfortunately, a great right there, but you can see we are right on target, and we are using to bounce on a very bumpy fairway. This is not an easy par 3 by any means, and I would honestly be okay with getting a birdie here. There is a rough bump, which I would suggest to go with if we do have a crosswind. I do think with a headwind or a tailwind, it's going to be very easy to miss that strip of rough. So a crosswind would definitely be the more viable option. You see that I suggest a katana or a kingmaker. It's because I would like us to have a decent amount of side spin, especially with a difficult crosswind coming left to right to left. One thing to look at here, to be very aware of, is like if you do miss the pin on the right hand side, the ball is gonna fall down pretty massively, and then you risk rolling into the rough, and that is obviously not something that we do want to do. So we're gonna use all from, to summarize, all from 1 to 4 bars of backspin, and we're gonna use somewhere between no to 4 bars of side spin to the left, as well as, once again, we do want to miss left and rather miss right. Tough par 3 to make an hole-in-one on, but definitely an opportunity. So let's take a look, and no, we're not gonna play when it's dark outside. This is an older recording, as this course has only been in tournament one time and been on second tee for a very long time, so you cannot find this hole from the second tee. Here we can play with a power 3, power 4, power 5 ball and go full blast over power, trying to either do two things. One, we're just gonna go over the rough and land and lay off for a short iron, which is going to be the most general way to play, or we're going to try to go max over power with a tailwind and reach the green. So this is going to be a par 4 where I do believe we're going to see a lot of eagles on, because even though we won't be reaching to the green in crosswind or in headwind, we will still be ending up in a very nice position for either going for a short iron shot like our opponent here, like using a club with a decent ball guideline, or you're gonna go for a shot with a dunk with the thorn. So in the end, it's gonna be a very interesting hole where an eagle is going to be my plan, or at least I'm going to see it as almost a must eagle. 10% for the drive, nothing for the second shot. And obviously the elevation for the second shot is going to be depending on the fact we are on the fairway. Look at this shot here. I would rather play this one slightly under adjusted, but if we do go shorter with a drive, I'm gonna play it 0. So you need to be a bit flexible there, being able to change your adjustment slightly due to the position on the fairway. That is the only thing I see could be difficult on this par 4. Otherwise, it's going to just be play the drive that you feel the most comfortable with, and then in the end we're gonna go and try to get it in the hole. And as you can see, I'm going for the dunk here. I have the falcon, but the same type of structure with the thorn. Use as much backspin as possible, because you will want to stay on the green even if you miss the dunk, because that's obviously always an option. But as the green is very big, you do have a lot of room, and you can hit great left, great right, under power, under adjust or over adjust, and still be fine. But in this scenario, we're going to adjust for the dunk, and we're going to get it perfectly centered, and we're gonna get this ball in its hole, or like get it to its hole. Boom! So let's take a look at hole number 9 here. This is an oldie, I will call it. We have been playing this course many times in lower tours especially, and here if we do have a tailwind, we are going to try to bounce on the fairway island and crossing the water over to the next fairway. My suggestion here would be playing with a big topper or with a Thor's hammer in a decent level. The reason I say that is because we are looking for a club with a lot of topspin, because with this type of wind and a lot of topspin, we can actually reach green. And you know, everyone, or at least I would love to have a putt for the albatross or very short wedge. 10% over adjustment, and we're gonna go with max over power many of the times. Have in mind though that sometimes you might not need to go with max over power, especially if you're using a power 5 ball. A power 3 ball minimum, in my opinion. You do have plenty of power 4 balls, plenty of power 5 balls that you can use, and a power 5 ball here, in my opinion, would be the better option, as then you get more distance and you then don't have to overpower as much. So just to go and just to summarize the club part real quick, a Thor's Hammer level 6 goes before a Big Topper. But if you have a Thor's Hammer level 5, a Big Topper level 1 would be the better option in my opinion. If we do have a headwind or a direct crosswind, we cannot do the shot that we're doing here. Then we just lay up on the fairway island with using a max distance with a 10% over adjustment. And then the second shot is going to be with a 40% over adjustment. That's why the 40% is listed in the info box. Second shot here, if we reach over the water, then we play it 10% over adjustment. And this is, especially with this type of wind, super duper chance for an albatross. And this is really something that I would like you to really be not careful, but be focused on, because getting an albatross is not only good for a low score, it's good for tiebreaker as well. So if we do get a situation like this, we should be able to, with a perfect ball, be either very close or getting it in. 10% over adjustment, as I said, using a little bit of backspin, and then you can see the ball coming here, taking the right edge, giving us a 180 or like almost a 360 for an albatross. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division for the Community Cup. Have in mind that some of the recordings are old, but I'm using them to still display the way that we're going to play it in the tournament, and obviously there will be a new playthrough for both Pro and Expert once the tournament starts with the tournament win. Get the text guys by becoming a Patreon. Link to Patreon is in the description down below. Video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Thank you so much for watching and good luck in the Community Cup.